Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you very much for joining me again today for another card making tutorial, and it's the first of the month, which means we're doing the Stamp Around UK video hop. So if you click on the show more or description bar, down arrow, whatever it is on your device, depending on what you're viewing us on, you'll see a whole heap of links there to the other participants that are taking part this time round, and our theme is texture. The easiest way I find to apply texture to anything is using embossing folders. So these two cards have been made with the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. It's one of the regular embossing folders. So here I've just left it plain and just laid it up with some Misty Moonlight and added some additional texture with our lovely ornate frames. And then with this one I actually applied ink to the embossing folder beforehand to give it this sort of shabby chic kind of look to it. Okay, so that was Misty Moonlight. Ornate frames around the edge there and for the die cutting, and the sentiments come from Peaceful Moments. So Peaceful Moments is a really nice sentiment set actually. It's a real good all-rounder for everything, including sympathy and that kind of thing. So that's a really lovely set. So I've done a bit of prep ahead of time. We're going to switch up the colourway to Magenta Madness, so another one of the last year's in colours. I've already embossed one of them already and layered that up, and we're going to do it again but with the ink. So I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so I've got a piece of cardstock that's one of the card layer sizes, so that's 4 inches wide by 5 3/4 high, and this is the Pretty Florals embossing folder. So when we emboss with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, we're going to use our base platform, and it tells you exactly on the plates which ones, which sandwich you need to use. So for embossing folders, it's here. Insert them hinge first. Use with standard embossing folders. So you use platform 1, which is this one. Then you've got your number 3 plate, which is a clear cutting plate, your cardstock, and then another plate on top. Okay, so number 1 and number 3. There's the number on this one. As I kind of change my plates around, I switch them around. Okay, so I'm going to put that onto the base of my machine, ready to go. Got my cardstock ready to go, and what I'm going to do is bring in some paper just to protect my surface, because we're going to get inky. So I'm just looking for the side of the folder that presses into the background, and that's this side, so it's actually the front on this one. So depending on how you want to use your embossing folder may determine which side you ink up, and you'll get different effects with each one. So we're going to apply the ink onto the embossing folder quite generously, just sort of light tapping like you were inking up a stamp basically. So you want to go in different directions and try and get a really nice good coverage. So it is a plastic surface, which means you're going to get a little bit of beading on there, but it covers quite well. It just may not give you, a super smooth image, you know what I mean? It may come out a little bit blotchy, which is fine. It all adds to the effect. And a little bit of ink sometimes goes on to the lower level, so I can see that there's a petal there with a bit of ink on the that's gone through to the bottom. But again, it's not going to be a bother for our purposes today. I'm going to turn that round, position my cardstock in the folder, get everything ready to go so that I can just get it transferred and on. So we're going to press that down, and then you don't want that cardstock to move, so we're going to press that down, keep a hold of it, transfer it to the embossing machine, get the top plate on top. She says, with it sticking to her fingers, and run that through. So that ink is going to press into the cardstock where those raised portions make contact with the card as it applies the pressure and the texture. Okay, so I don't want to get ink all over me, so let's just grab a tissue to open that up. Okay, so you get this interesting effect on there. So this ink will just wash off. I've done this a couple of times, and the embossing folder just cleans up really, really nicely. So I'm just going to move that over to one side, out of my way, so I don't stick anything critical on it. She says, trying to find a place for it to land. Okay. So you get a real different effect depending on how much ink you get on there and stuff like that. So there we go, that's how that one's turned out. Okay, it doesn't take a minute to dry either, so that's all going to be good. So much more grungy looking. We're going to lay that onto our card base. I'm going to use wet glue because of all that texture. You can hear it on the tip of that glue there. So we'll just flip that over. And get that, oops, stuck down. This is Janice Thompson's favourite colour, Magenta Madness. So I'm sure she'll be thrilled to see that I'm using that today. There we are. Oops. Squidged a bit of glue there, but forgot. So just pressing that down, just giving that a crease across the top for my fold. Okay, so two card bases that look very, very different. And all we need to do now is add on our sentiments. So we can, I've already die cut the ornate portions in the coordinating Magenta Madness cardstock, so they're ready to go. And I'm just going to bring in some scrap card, or leftover piece of card. It's an offcut that isn't the right size for anything. So we've got the happy birthday and the thank you. Bring back our magenta ink. Happy birthday and thank you. Just light tapping on the ink pad just to get that excuse me, well inked. And then we'll use these dies from the same Ornate Frames dies. So these ones layer together, which is really, really cool. Whoops. They layer together like that, and then same, that one goes with that one, and you got a whole heap of other things in there too. So they're a really nice die set if you need something like that. Oh, if I stuck that too close to the edge. It'll do. So we'll just get that into position there. Take that into place. And then this one. Just trying to make sure that that's straight-ish. and we'll run those through the die cut machine. So I just need to replace my number 2 plate. It needs to go back into the sandwich to do the die cutting. Oops. And then we can just peel away that die. Careful with the tape. It is low tack tape. But even low tack tape sometimes just catches. Okay, so we are going to add those on to their corresponding layers with dimensionals. So we're just going to add more sort of texture in the form of dimension. Okay, whip those off, and then we'll apply them to the backgrounds with our wet glue. So those just line up, just trying to get those little hints of a border around those dies. Ooh, that one's somewhere about there. So being quite generous with the glue just so that it adheres to those to that texture really well. So we'll change it up and we'll put the thank you on this one, and the happy birthday on this one. And you know, this can go wherever, but I thought it might be cute to have that one down there. Okay, so my personal favourites are the white ones, and I think possibly it's like that magenta just sort of sinks in a bit too much on this one. It didn't seem to sink as much on the blue one. Thought it came out all right. Maybe it's just the depth of the colour on the of that ink. It just makes it quite dark. So a couple of ideas there to use your embossing folders. You can apply ink or not. So I really like this sort of clean look with the embossing. I think it just really makes that texture sing personally. Okay, there we go. Don't forget to check out all the other videos. I'm sure everyone will be doing something completely different with different stuff, and give you loads and loads of ideas. Alright, thanks for joining me again today. Take care everybody, stay safe, bye.